Hello, welcome to a new type of video that I've never done before. It are my hands and it are my couch. I'm going to talk about video games that I have in my collection. I made a little post on YouTube the other day asking if this is kind of something people would be interested in, and I had a few people say yes and even suggest the first topic, which I was hesitant to do this topic because it felt a little like braggy or something, I don't know, but we're talking about the most expensive games I own in my collection, and I have a lot. It's right behind me. I don't want to turn the camera to show you, but I have a lot of games. I collect a lot of games very often, and like very infrequently do I buy a game that's expensive. Very, very infrequently. I think I'll tell. I mostly remember how much I paid for these games, but very rarely do I ever spend more than like $50 on a single retro game. So this is kind of stuff that's just accrued in value over the years, and I've been collecting since 2009. So, you know, some of the stuff I've had for a while. So don't feel too like, man, I wish I had as much money as he did, or he does, because like I don't have a lot of money, but I'm gonna talk about how I got these things, and you know how much I spent on them. Man, is my cat gonna walk in frame? Is he gonna be like this? You're gonna be able to meet my cat in person too. This is exciting. He's gonna literally walk. Yeah. Hello. What's up? What a good start to this video. I know. Just can you go over there or something? He's staring at me. Man, you're making this a lot harder, Olive, because now I'm gonna have to edit the video and stuff. You're the worst. Okay, can you chill? Oh my god. Alright, Olive, I'm sorry. You gotta go. Oh. I have to edit the video because of you. Oof. Anyway, cat aside, we got some friends here. Female Villager and Sailor Venus. Or Minako. She's cool. I don't know, I was going to decorate this area more, but it doesn't matter. Let's just get into the games. That's why you're here, right? So yeah, I have like 10 games or something. So the first one I have here is Mega Man Legends 2. And yep, he likes this game because it's worth a lot of money, right, Olive? That's why you like it? Yeah, that's why you like it. Okay, get off the couch. Yeah, so this game is actually worth a good amount of money. I have the price charters open. This game is worth $138 complete now. I bought it for $50, I remember. And like I just said a second ago, I don't usually spend more than $50 in a game, but I remember making exception for this because it was a really good deal, because I think I bought it like only a few years ago. And at the time, it was probably like $100-ish. Oh my god. This cat, man. I know, he loves Mega Man Legends 2. It was like $100, and there was a retro game store kind of in my area at the time selling it for $50. Well, it was selling it for like $75, and then I remember being like, I'm gonna wait until this is cheap, like until there's like a sale at the store or something. And I guess it fell off their case, and the case cracked. So then they were selling it for $50 because it was damaged, and I bought it for $50, and I just replaced the jewel case. Come on, what is he doing? You gonna chill? Go away. But yeah, it was a good deal. I really wanted this game because I really love it, and I really love the original Mega Man Legends. And I don't know, there wasn't a lot of chances that I would get this game, and knowing that it's in the top like 10 expensive games I own, that's not bad. And by the way, you probably noticed, for some collectors, you might be like, wait, this is only $130 and this is in your top 10. You don't have a ton of expensive games. I don't have a ton of expensive games. That's because I don't spend a lot of money on expensive games. So yeah, Mega Man Legends 2, pretty cool game. Oh my god, this cat, man. Probably not worth the money. Definitely not worth $130. I didn't mind spending $50 because, you know, special game in my heart that I'm a Mega Man fan, a big Mega Man fan, so being able to get this one was pretty cool. And again, good deal. Couldn't really pass it up. I think I also had just like store credit at that place at the time. So next game I have is a lot more interesting than I saw it for a good deal and I bought it. So this is kind of weird, right? This is the interactive multi-game demo disc version 18. So this is, maybe some of you know, but this is something that they would use at kiosks at stores like GameStop and Walmart and stuff. This is like the demo disc, like the preview demo disc thing you'd see at a kiosk. This is how they came. This is how they were delivered to those stores. And this is number 18. The only reason, this is the only one I have. The only reason I have this specifically is because it has a demo of Paper Mario with a 1,000-Year Door on it. But it's before it was called 1,000-Year Door, and it's kind of this like beta of 1,000-Year Door. The title screen says Paper Mario 2. It uses unused music. A lot of the dialogue is different in that version of the game. And it's pretty neat. Like, and I think I spent a little bit of money on this. I think I might have spent, I think it was actually $40, which is insane because I'm seeing on here that it's $150 now, which I don't even know how. So also a lot of this stuff in here is really, really hard to come by. I bought this for as much as I did because I was following the listing where it was literally sending me like emails whenever there was a listing for this going up because I wanted it so bad. So I just got really, I just jumped on it. I got an email, saw it was eBay sent you an email saying that there is a copy of this for $40. And I was like, oh, I need that. Also, hello. He's all comfy now. So I needed it, and it's really cool. Unfortunately, there's not really any like information to show you what it looks like, but these things are super cool. And if you can get your hands on one, they're probably worth it. I think some are decently cheap, I think, surprisingly, considering how popular the GameCube is. And I'm not gonna lie, $150 is a lot of money, but I mean, this has a beta of 1,000-Year Door, which is probably more than this. Like 1,000-Year Door is probably almost worth as much, if not more than this at this point. So like, I don't know, it's kind of weird that this isn't really worth more money. I don't really care if it's worth money or not. I'm not selling it. It's a super special thing to me, but yeah. He's so chilling now. That's cool. So next game on here, going a little out of order here, but I really just don't think this is very interesting of a thing to talk about. Pokemon Black and White 2. Pokemon games are ridiculously expensive. I don't know why. They shouldn't be. This game is apparently $160 complete in box. I got this for a whopping $40 at GameStop the day it came out because I bought it when it came out. That's such a shame because this is one of the best Pokemon games, which is probably why it's worth so much money. But like, it doesn't need to be worth this much. There's so many out there, and like, I know they're in high demand, but like, I know like every person who has DS games or Pokemon collector, Nintendo collector needs to have Pokemon Black and White too. But like, when this came out, nobody was talking about it, or at least people were just like less enthusiastic. So it's interesting that it's worth so much money now. But yeah, this sounds like there's more than one game in here. Yeah, there's Pokemon Diamond. I don't think I have a case for that game, so I just shove it in here. I'm not a very luxurious collector, by the way. But yeah, I don't know, pretty boring. I bought this when it was new. That's the story on that one. So the next game is a Super Nintendo game, Sparkster for Super Nintendo. This is the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures on Genesis. This game is super good. It's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, and I got it in like 2009. And I think I remember spending $15 on it, and now it is $155. So that has gone up 10 times since I bought it, which is pretty funny. Okay, bye, Olive. He doesn't like Sparkster. I don't blame you. It's way too expensive. Yeah, it's too expensive in my opinion. Super Nintendo games have had a long lineage of like price up and downs, pretty much, mostly ups. I think this one's just really underrated and was kind of like, forgotten about. So it kind of has that like, rare legacy kind of thing going on. It's fun. Like I said, it's one of my favorites only because it's so cool. Like, it's just a really cool game, but it's definitely not worth the price. The only reason I was going to say that is because it's good, but it's not that good. I don't know. Like, Chrono Trigger might be worth like $80 if you can find it for that, but like, this is not worth even close to this. But yeah, I got it a long time ago, so I've just kind of had it, and it's on my price charting collection thing, and I've just like, when I put it in there, I was like, wait, how much is this game now? Like, I kind of remember it being a little bit more expensive, maybe like $60, but man, yeah, 2020 games hopped up in price. It is nuts. So another Super Nintendo game I own, Kirby's Dreamland 3. Another game I think I bought in 2009 when I first got my Super Nintendo, and I was buying a bunch of old games, and I was having fun with it. I remember at the time, this game was more expensive, and I think I bought it for $30. And I think at the time I was like, wow, that is way more than I've spent on any retro game yet. Like, wow. And one reason why I think it was even a good deal at the time, I don't know if you can tell, but this has all this like black junk all over it. That was because there was like flames drawn all over this with Sharpie. And at one point I was like down on money, so I was thinking about selling some games, and this was one on the chopping block. So I rubbed off all the Sharpie that was on here, and I regret it so much. It was so cool. It was just like this really cool fiery effect all over it. And I'm like, for some reason that is so funny on Kirby. It just like did not fit the aesthetics of this game at all. And it was just like really charming. And I'm like, why'd I do that? Like, I guess maybe I got a job shortly after that or something. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna sell this after all. But damage was done. Now it's lost its unique thing. You can even see I wasn't even that careful with the friggin' like rubbing alcohol. I got it all over the label too. I don't know. Again, I don't really plan on selling this anymore. Maybe like in a million years I will, but at the time, I mean, this is one of my favorite Kirby games, I think. The Dreamland series is really good. Dreamland 2 and 3 at least. So yeah, next game I have is another kind of like similar story to the other games. Drill Dozer, complete in box, really bad condition though. I have a story about that which I'll tell, but Drill Dozer is one of those Game Boy games with a big ol' rumble pack attached. This game is excellent. This game is so good. And it's made by Game Freak, so it's made by the guys that made Pokémon, and it's a platformer. It's so good. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Or if it's like kind of been on your radar but you haven't tried it out in an emulator. It's really good. Apparently this game's really expensive. I mean, I kind of understand it's complete in box, so it's going to be more expensive. But I think even the cartridge itself is like upwards of like $100. Complete in box, this is... by the way, Kirby's Dream Land 3 is now $167. It's just too much. $190 for complete in box. Again, I kind of would understand because it's like complete in box is expensive these days, unfortunately. But I'm not kidding. I remember getting this game. I wish I had. I probably do. I could probably dig for it. I wish I still had the receipts. But I think I got this game for $5, sealed new on Amazon, because it was like back stock that they couldn't sell. So it was like in, again, 2009, 2010. Sell this on Amazon for $5, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get it. Like, I wanted to play this game, and it came in the box, and I think I remember at the time I was a little surprised. I wasn't sure if it was actually gonna be sealed, but it was like back stock. I remember I got F-Zero for the Super Nintendo, same way, on Amazon for like $10, and it was new, sealed in box. And it's like at the time, and somehow in 2009, there was still back stock of Game Boy Advance games and even Super Nintendo games, which is crazy to think about now. Yeah, I've had this for so long. I think, again, at the time, I was kind of getting into collecting. So I kept it in the box because I was like, oh, well, I don't get a lot of in-box Game Boy Advance games. I'm going to keep this. And then I spilt water on my desk because it used to be like near my computer on my desk. It was like I only had like a few Game Boy Advance games. And it got all fucked up. And then at one point, I like tried to like salvage it, and it kind of got more fucked up. It's like a little indented. Yeah. I don't know. It's fine. Again, it's a cool game that I really, really like. So, like, I really appreciate that I own it complete in box. It's probably one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games, so that's pretty neat. Again, crazy jump in price. Different time back then. I mean, like, you think about that now. You can sometimes find, like, rogue, like, DS or Wii games, like, sealed, you know, backstock sealed still. But, you know, not gonna find something like this anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm happy I own that. It's like a cool thing that I just so happened to stumble upon. So I have a few more games. These are definitely more interesting. Well, one is slightly. I have something to say about them. But so okay, this is the next game I own. It's a tiny game, Cotton for Neo Geo Pocket Color. Now the only reason I want to bring this game up is, first of all, it's Cotton. It's an expensive game series. This is the one for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which is really just a weird system. This is a very strange game in terms of collecting. You know, like, it's a good game. It's cool. It's a shmup. It's apparently worth $200 loose in cart, but this fluctuates between my highest and my highest expensive game, and sometimes around this area, because so little sell a year. I'm going to look at price charts. It tells you exactly how much sell like a year on these games. 3 sell a year, which is honestly 3 more than they used to. Because when I got this game, I remember, so I was collecting Neo Geo Pocket Color back in like 2014 is when I first got the system, and I was really into it. I really wanted to try to get every game for it, and things were pretty cheap, all things considered. And there were a few games that, like, I did a bunch of research on like every game that came out for the system, and there were a few games that just so little people had that I couldn't find a price for, like, anywhere. I could not get a decent price for it, and this was one of them. I just remember being like, is this game even come out? Like, was this like just not released? Or am I like crazy? Apparently it was like released in English, and I was just super confused. This is the Japanese version, by the way. And like, I was just really confused at the time. I didn't even know if it was out. I saw like maybe a listing on eBay once, and I was like, is that like a fluke? I don't even know. And then one random day, I was, I would check the newly listed Neo Geo Pocket Color listings on eBay, and I saw a lot of games for $30. Came with like 10 Neo Geo Pocket Color games. I'm not kidding, $30. I think it was like 30 plus shipping, and this was in there, and I just like was like stunned. Like, are you serious? Like, is that cotton like in this lot of games? And I bought it immediately, and yeah, like lo and behold, it's and it's official and it's real. And it was in North America too. Like, it was not an international like lot. This is a Japanese copy of this game that was just floating around some guy's room for years. It's just crazy. And like, at the time, I remember I got this game and I was trying to figure out how much it's worth, and I couldn't find any listings for it. So like, in my head, I was like, I control the price of this game right now, because at least in North America, there was nobody selling this game online. I could not find a single listing. It was nuts. It was just a very strange circumstance. And again, I've seen this sold for so much money. I've seen it sold for not that much money. I've seen it sold for like $50 sometimes. So the price of this is all over the place. I think Neo Geo Pocket Color games have kind of equaled out in terms of their price nowadays. I think there's like a nice kind of like medium they found. And I think this game is more expensive. It's probably one of the more expensive games, like for the system. But I don't know if it's $200. I don't know how much this game truly is, but it's cool to own. And it's probably the rarest Neo Geo Pocket Color game I own, like rarest technically, like one that comes up online the least. I still follow so much. I'm still missing like a handful of games to complete, like, I would say complete the collection, like the entirety of the library, but like, I'm not going to buy a few games that just are either way too expensive or just nonsense. There's a lot of like, like pachinko and slot machine games for the Neo Geo Pocket Color that I just don't care about. But yeah, this was a big one that I got really early on collecting, and I was just like, man, I felt powerful. That was a huge springboard for me to get really into it, because I was like, okay, like, the peak is done. Like, this is the hardest it's ever going to become to collect for, so like everything's easier from here on out, I thought. But now games are expensive on that system, and there's a Mega Man game I've always wanted, and it's so expensive. So the next one is another kind of boring one. Is Chibi-Robo, because apparently this game is ridiculously expensive. I think this game has what I like to call is like a retro game snowball effect, where like people get wind that it's uncommon, or that people want it, or it's like kind of rare. Like, I think a few years ago, if I check the price charting thing, let me see really quick. So a few years ago, in like 2017, it went up to like $60-ish. So, it was like, okay, it's a little bit more expensive than a normal GameCube game. Maybe on the higher end at the time. I actually don't remember how much GameCube games were back then. But then suddenly in like 2020, it just shot up, because I think it had a snowball effect where it's like, people realized it was worth something, so then there was more people interested in it, and then those people who had it were like, whoa, I'm sitting on gold, and they try to sell it for more, and now it's just known as an expensive game, which means it'll just keep going up until like the bubble pops and nobody cares about it anymore. But like right now, I don't think it's going to be going down anytime soon, which is unfortunate, because it's good and it's worth getting if it wasn't this much money. $230 right now for this game complete. And you're never going to guess the story about this one. I bought it. Actually, I didn't buy it when it came out. I was just going to say that, but that is not true. I used to have the receipt in here, but I couldn't find it. I wasn't sure if it was in another GameCube case, but I swear I used to flex it to my friends all the time, because I thought it was really funny when this game was getting expensive. Is like, I have a receipt from GameStop in like 2011 or something, or 2011 or 12, where I got this game for $4.99 complete in box. And I just remember at the time, I mean, like, I would go to GameStop and buy their GameCube games because I liked the GameCube and I was missing a bunch of games for it, and they were super cheap at GameStop at the time. And I bought this and like the Game Boy player for like $5. Like, I bought so much stuff from GameStop at this time for so cheap. Nowadays, they're so privy on like the price of older games that like you can't find like I was looking at the Wii section at a GameStop. It was like pitiful. It had like 5 games like a few weeks ago. And like they had like a Mario Party game for like $100 or something. I'm like, who the hell is gonna buy that? It's like, it's just stupid. This game is great, and it's such a shame that it's so expensive now. You know, it's definitely worth being a little bit pricier because like it's harder to come by. It was definitely not super popular, and I didn't own it as a kid. I, bought it when I was a teenager. So I just can't believe that it's so sought after. It's just crazy to me. Like I said, I think a lot of people do have this. Like a lot of GameCube collectors do now have this. It's just like there's those select people that still don't. That like it's such a gem of a game that like people are willing to shell out the money for it. I don't really sympathize with that too much anymore. If somebody like says like, oh, I had to pay $200 for it, I'd be like rolling my eyes like, no, you didn't. Like, you don't have to pay $200 for it. There's plenty of games that have gone up in price that I always wanted to own, and I didn't pay $200 for it. Like, I just wait or don't buy it. Like, it's unfortunately sometimes that's just how it is. And, I have major ADHD. I have major like obsessive compulsion kind of like instances where like I need something when I need it, like my brain will not stop ticking until I get that thing. But you have to learn to like, make your brain focus on something else, have other hobbies that you can be into at the time. So you can like, at least in my brain, the way my brain works is like, it's nice to have other hobbies like plush toys and, other stuff that I collect to kind of like lean your brain away from that stuff. So it's frustrating. I mean, game collecting is one of the most frustrating things to collect right now because, resellers and people making it like a business are so rampant right now. So like, it's impossible to feel like you are actually like having fun collecting. It just feels like more like you're doing what you need to do, which is spend $200 on a stupid GameCube game. Yeah, it's just kind of a nice culmination of what's wrong with so many like collecting video games these days. It's just not fun. It's just not fun anymore, right? Like there was a time where it was exciting, where I'd go to, I was just in Japan and I made a whole live stream out of it. I saw Chibi-Robo, Japanese copy of Chibi-Robo for 800 yen complete in box. Now, I know it's a completely different market there, but like how much more fun is that, right? Like going to a store and being able to pick up Chibi-Robo or any GameCube game for so cheap now, like, or just so cheap there. It's so much more fun to be collecting retro games there because I'm not gonna lie, like when you go to a retro game store, pay attention to their GameCube section. There's probably more GameCube games in the glass case over $50 than there are out on the shelf, like with the shovelware. And now it's like the disparity is so huge where it's like GameCube games are either worth nothing or they're worth a ridiculous amount. And it's just frustrating. I get it. Like I'm a collector. I get it. But the fun is definitely been sucked out of the hobby in a lot of ways. Either way, cool game. I'm glad I own it. It is somewhat satisfying to see games that I made decisions on way back when like accrue so much value somewhat because it's like, oh, I made a good decision. So the last game that I'm going to show off today, Shantae. Yep, this is the most expensive game I own, and this is a little DS-sized case that I actually graphically designed myself. The text is way too light though; you can barely read it. But yeah, it is the original cartridge for Shantae for the Game Boy Color. Super amazing game that I love a lot on the Game Boy Color. The series is sometimes good, but this game specifically I have a lot of fondness for, and it's probably my favorite game in the Shantae series, and I'm not just saying that because I own it physically. But this game was really interesting because I got it via my friend through some like wacky circumstances, but he basically gave it to me for free as like a gift, and I cherish it a lot because it was kind of how me and one of my friends reconnected, and the story that revolves around it is very fun. I won't tell it here, but it's a good time, and it puts a lot of fondness to that time in my life because I discovered the game back in like 2010, and got really into it, but didn't know if I could afford it. So my friend gifted me this game, was huge, and it was just like super, super special. And you know, it's a very big like centerpiece in my collection, kind of. You know, it's the most expensive game according to price charters. I don't have everything logged, but I have most of my stuff logged, so I don't doubt that it's the most expensive. I don't think I have anything else over $676. But yeah, like Shantae is a very cool game, and I love the time period this game came out in, and like the circumstances that came out, and how rare it is, and why it's rare is very interesting to me. So in terms of like what games in my collection would I have wanted to be like the most expensive or one of the most impressive, like Shantae is a very cool game for that. And I know this has been re-released, so I do recommend playing it. It's a little janky, but like it's really fun, and there's a lot of charm to it, and like I just don't think they make games kind of like this anymore. The newer Shantae game, the newest one, I really didn't like, which is unfortunate, but you know, the first one will always have a special place in my heart. And it still saves, and it's nice, in nice condition. I'll have to replace that battery at some point in my life, but it's in pretty like mint condition. And again, it was pretty much a gift. So, and at the time, I think even when I got it gifted, it wasn't like super expensive. I think like it was like $100-ish. I remember at the time I was just like $100 for a Game Boy Color game. That's way too much money. And now this has gone up 6 times the amount, and it's just like, god damn, 7 times the amount. But yeah, very cool game. Very cool thing to kind of cap off my collection. I really like that this game represents this kind of thing. I don't really put a lot of value on like my game collection. You know, I have stuff on price charters just to make it like easier to kind of just like know, I don't know, what I have rather than what it's worth. So it's cool. It's cool that like a game like this, it's not special because I bought it, you know, it's special for other reasons. I don't know. I'm rambling. Point is, Shantae's cool. Games are cool. Don't spend a lot of money on video games. I got this for fucking free, man. But a lot of these games I got for good deals, and it's just a matter of waiting and being patient and, you know, stuff like that. Video game collecting is a joke now, so. But yeah, Shantae, very cool. Play it if you haven't. Just like emulate it or something. Don't buy it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's a little glamour shot of all the games I have. Oh god. Ready? This is for the thumbnail. This is for the thumbnail. Look at that. Wow. I'll cover Shantae so like you can just barely see it, you know? Oops. Mega Man, you gotta cover it though. You can't just not cover it. You're not doing your job, man. Look at that. Here, let's do this. Pile of games. But yeah, let me know what your most expensive game if you're a video game collector, or if you have any association with any of these games. They're pretty cool. I like these games. I have more stuff in my collection that I'm trying to think of categories to show off like this. If you like this video, let me know, please, because I do want more ways to make content, less time-consuming ways, and this is really easy. I don't know how much editing this is going to take, but, you know, it's not bad. It's pretty simple to do, so, yeah, if you like it, let me know. And yeah, if you have any suggestions of other categories of things you want to see in my collection, I have a lot of stuff. Let me know as well. I'm genuinely curious. This is pretty fun to do, and I can talk your ear off about everything I own because everything's got a story, everything's got a reason that I bought it, and I like that about my collection. I like that about me as a collector. So yeah, thanks for watching, friends. Until next time, she's gonna be like, bye, see ya.